Okay. So we are going to be using this template, follow through step by step as we explained on Friday, to get these data projects that we have been given done. The data project has got input data and master data. These two tables are within that Excel workbook.
Sister Debbie, I have a quick question.
Okay.
So what's the difference between that input data and the master data?
Okay, that's a good question. Very, very good one. Input data, this is where understanding your data, which is one of the principles of data analysis. Data analysis steps that we have here. I think it's principles of data analysis. Yes, data understanding. This is where you really sit with your data sets after you have gathered from different sources that you are going to be getting it from. You sit with it to understand exactly what this data is about. You ask questions, which is why I said that's really a very good question. Okay, so input data, let's look at the columns we have on the input data. We've got the date, we've got product ID. A quick housekeeping, please let's mute if we are not talking. We've got the ID for the products. We've got quantity. So that tells me some quantity of products that were bought is what this quantity is going to be about. Okay. The sales type, how the channel now, how were they bought? How were these products bought? And the date I've got as well. So I've got a date that's recording that a product that's got this product ID was sold or bought, you know, and as much as 9 quantities were bought, you know, through a wholesaler now. We can see the sales type is through a wholesaler, and the payment mode, payment was made online, and this was a discount that was applied, you know, to it. So that's information I can get from this input data table. Then I go into the master data table. Now I see product ID again. Okay, I see products. So we can, before we had just the ID for the product, but now I can see there's a name to it. There's a category to it. The unit of measurement of it is there. Buying price, which symbolizes unit price. I can see unit price and I can see selling price. And that's all I've got, you know, on this table. So from our knowledge of fact table and dimension table, what can you tell me about these two tables that differentiates the two, using the concept of fact table or transactional table and dimension table or lookup table? Very quickly, anyone can unmute and talk and tell us what they understand, or how they understand this question, how to answer it properly. Do we remember what fact tables are, what dimension tables are?
So the dimension table, I hope I get it right. The dimension table is like a subset of the fact table.
Okay, yes, it is. It is, because we can see a few information for product ID, and product ID. You can see a few information, you know, that's similar. So it's sort of a subset of the fact table. But from these two, which one would you say is the fact table and which one would you say is the dimension table? I want to use that to explain, you know, those two concepts to our newbies, If I can get an answer from someone, please.
You said what? Are you even supposed to be eating?
Please mute. Please mute.
I think product ID is fact table and dates as well as quantity because they are numeric. While sales and payment mode is dimension table.
That's a good attempt. Thank you very much for the attempt. So when we talk tables, you see, the whole of this input data, all of it like this is a table. So input data, which is the tab you see where my cursor is, the whole of this is actually a table. And within that table, we have columns. Each of these are called columns. And we have rows. So A, B, C, D, and so on and so forth. Those are called columns. And when we now talk about the row 1, row 2, row 3, and so on, all these from this point, if you are looking at the data from this, is it horizontal now that we'll call this, or vertical? Those are called rows. So when you've got a meeting point of a column and a row, for example, this point here belongs to column A, row 2. So this cell, that's at A2. That's one cell. So when we have loads of them like that, we've formed a whole table. It could be just 2 columns, that's forming a table. Sometimes it's just one column that you are making into a table. But yes, these are all tables. So when I'm, singling out dates, that is just one column. Okay. So when I'm looking at fact table now, I'm looking at the whole table as a whole, due to the information that I have there, what makes it a fact table. And if I'm looking at master data, which is also a whole table, and it's made up of columns and rows, as well, what information does it tell me or does it give me that makes me believe it's a dimension table? Does that bit of explanation make sense?
That makes sense, yeah.
Okay, thank you. So
yeah.
Fact tables are defined as tables that a business would use to record the business that they are about. For example, a store like Tesco. The fact table for Tesco will be where all the orders that are placed, whether online, whether in store, however it is placed, where all of those data are recorded, are captured, that is their fact table. Because on that fact table, it will record the when did the action take place? It would probably record the who, by whom, the what is that business about? What exactly was the transaction about? And the how as well, I believe. Okay, so taking a look at this input data now, we've got dates. So that gives us a when. We've got product ID. So we know it's regarding the products with this ID. So that's a what. We've got quantity. That tells us how much. We've got sales type. That's a kind of how as well. Payment mode is also a how. We've got the discounts that they were given. That tells me that this input data is the table where all of their transactions are recorded daily. I can see 1st of January 2021. That first row is telling me that 1st of January 2021, a product with product ID P0024 was bought, and 9 quantities of it was bought through the sales type called wholesaler, and the payment was made online, and 0% discount was given. That is how you understand your data. I'm going to resend because we need to really have a good grasp of Excel from beginner mode, for most of us, from beginner mode to advanced. So I'm going to resend that that YouTube video that you can, just learn on, maybe spend a couple of minutes or an hour daily to really understand Excel, because until we understand the basics of it, then analyzing data with it becomes quite difficult. Okay, but we'll carry on. So that's what makes this a fact table. For this store, this is where they record the events of their business, the orders that are placed. For a hospital, they are fact table because fact tables are also called transactional tables. But for the fact that anytime we hear transaction, it sounds like money, money, money. Not every transaction is monetary. It doesn't have to involve money. Some businesses don't have money physically exchanging hands for the products or for the service, that is rendered. Example would be probably NHS or GPs or hospitals generally. You go there, the dates that you came in, the time that you came in, the doctor or that you saw, or the nurses that were on the ward, at the time, they are captured, the appointment you came for, the title of it or the subject of it is recorded. The business of that establishment is about health visits, and that is what will be recorded on their fact table. So fact tables generally record the events of a business. Does that make sense? Because I'm going to be asking questions at the end of the class. I'm going to ask you what is a fact table? What makes this table a fact table? So if it's still not clear, please let me know so that I can, explain that better. Anyone that's finding it difficult to understand.
Can you repeat that last statement? You said fact table record
the events of a business, the events that a business is about, what they actually do. So for a store like Tesco or any store that sells products, it would be where their sales are recorded, the sales that they make every day, every minute, every hour as the orders come in, where that is recorded, that is their fact table. For
so let's
hospital,
get it right.
Yeah.
Let's get it right. Is fact table the same thing as, because you are using a word that we don't have here. Is fact table the same thing as input data or master data table?
Okay. So fact table is a general name that is given to such types of table. One of the key words that we said we should research, fact table. Can you see my cursor? Fact table or transactional table. What tables are called fact tables? It's like saying boys or male. Let me use a better word. Male. Male is generic, it's general for every male. Then you start to have different males. You want to maybe name them by their names. We've got Tayo, we've got Dele, we've got, so that's what input data stands for. Input data is what this business calls their own fact table. But fact table is what every business, the name given to it in terms of data. So I'm doing data now. I've got to bring out which of the tables that I'm working with this business that I'm working with, which one is their fact table. There's a name they call it, which is not necessarily fact table, because fact table is generic. It's a peculiar data word peculiar to the profession. Okay. Now, these ones called it input data because this is where they input their data every time a transaction has happened. This is where they come and input it. So the last they input on this is 31st of December 2022. So if another sales comes in, it gets recorded on the next row. However, they capture it and so on and so forth. That's why they call it this name could be any name really. They could have called it sales data. They could have called it daily sales made, you know. But the type of table that it is fact table.
Okay, Sister Debbie, should we call it should we look at it this way? Fact table, like an umbrella body that they call it in data terms, terminology they use in data.
Yes.
Organization has a terminology they call theirs, maybe like input table, sales table.
Yes.
So it's like a sub unit under that a big umbrella that is called fact table.
So we've got two different types of table. Yeah. Fact table, what you have just said is correct. Fact table and lookup table. What are fact tables? Fact tables are tables that show us what is happening within that business in terms of the business they do, what their business is about, the events that their business actually captures. Example, a corner shop, they sell products. So if they've got maybe a book where they record, I sold biscuits, 10 packs of it at so price per pack, and I sold it to somebody. If they record the person's name, whoever the customer is, they might choose not to. But the fact that they've recorded that a business transaction has occurred, you know, at a certain time, and this was what the business transaction was, that table is a fact table. Now, they can now decide to put the title of that table as sales made today, sales made on so date, or total sales, or input data, or that could be the title they give it. Input data that you see here is the title, the name peculiar to that business that they give their own. Like I'm naming my child the name I want to give my child. That does not remove the fact that that child is a girl or that child is a boy. Girl, boy is the fact. Tolani is now the input data here. Does that bring it home more? Because it's important that we understand that part.
Oh, can I ask a quick question, ma?
Okay, sir.
Okay, ma. Yes, from the explanation of what the fact table and dimension table are, can we exclusively call this input data table a dimension table because it has details of quantity sold, discounts given, and the payment method? It looks like a mixture of it has some elements of fact table in here. This input data.
Okay, what made you say that?
Because it's the quantity looks like the quantity sold, and the discount given on sale, then the payment method. I mean the method by which payment was done.
Yeah,
those looks like details that we normally find in fact tables. Yeah.
That's why it was right for Mr. Francis to say that dimension tables are subsets sometimes of fact table. This is actually a fact table. That's what you said, isn't it? Mr. Jide, did I hear you right?
Yes, I said, I think we are concluding that the input data is a dimension table or
A
what?
fact table. No, it's a fact table.
A fact
because
table.
because it's showing us that transactions have happened.
Okay. That means in the master data also contains details of quantity. I can't remember vividly what.
Yeah, it's here. I've opened it. So
okay.
Master data does not give us quantity. And it's not just about quantity, but that quantity is important. Master data gives us buying price. That is the unit cost now.
Yeah.
Selling price, the unit sales price.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I should change those to units.
Yes,
Unit price. No,
yes.
okay. I think that's where the
confusion is.
Yes.
Is for me.
Yes.
Because I thought these are details of transaction.
I know that's quite confusing. That's the way the data came. So if we put those as units, unit cost price, you can change it on your.
Okay. So it makes much more sense now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's make this consistent.
So when you say unit price,
yeah,
there's another confusion there. Yes, unit cost price, meaning that is what is costing the company to produce a unit of that product.
Yeah.
So when we now come to unit sales price,
that
is what is costing the customer to purchase a unit
to purchase
of that
it. Yes.
So the difference is the profit.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Okay. So let's understand the fact that fact table, and you have to, this is where we say 50% of the time you have to really sit down to understand what's happening within the data, because that's when you would understand what you would do with it and if what you are planning to do with it is right. Okay. All the misconceptions about what is this, what is that. Yeah. I can't hear you. Someone's talking. Is someone talking? I can hear you now. I just want to come. Sorry, you are far away. You are far away. It's hard to hear you.
Let me change for my. Can you hear me now? Is it better now?
It's better now, yes.
Okay. And I'm trying to say something like what I've understand. Maybe is meaningful to me. I'm just trying to. So I'm looking at it from the angle of fact table being, like you said, a transactional table. Like for an organization, they have a table that capture all transactions that happen, details of what have happened on maybe each product, like what you said, who, how, and what have been sold.
Yeah.
Then the input data from the fact table, you can categorize it by having input data like sales data, financial data, customer data. Is it that way?
Okay, I know this input data here that we see here is confusing all of us.
Okay.
Input data is just the name they have decided to name their own data.
Okay.
But the type of table that it is, fact table. Now, you can now go into another business and they have the same table exactly like this, and they are giving it another name. That is this where my cursor is. They are calling it. So if I decide to change this from input data and I decide that it's just data, that's the name I'm giving it. I'm just saying data. That does not change the fact that this is a fact table. It's just named data. I can decide to change the name of it to R data, you know. Whatever name is given here, whatever name the tab, this is just a tab name, you know, whatever name the tab is labeled as long as you have checked all the data on it and you have understood that, okay, there's been a record of our business, what our business is doing, you know, is being recorded. This is where they record all of what we do. I don't want to use the word transaction anymore. That makes that table type a fact table. Fact table is a type of table. It's a generic kind of language that data professionals use to distinguish, and it's because we have to model our data. We have to show the relationship between the fact table and the dimension table. So we've got to label which one is the fact table, which one is the dimension table. So the fact table is the table that records with time. Most of the time must be there, what we do in our business. My business, we capture visitors, you know, that visit. Okay, we run a car park. Cars are constantly coming to park. So as long as a car comes in and is recorded in my database, the time, the date, the reg, whatever, the time it left, how much duration, the duration that it was there for, you know, for every car that comes in, there's a table that all of that data is gathered in. You know, that is a fact table for that business. Now that business can now say, okay, they've recorded it on Excel, and that table, they have named the table cars parked, daily cars parked, whatever name they give it. That's the type of table that table is still a fact table for the purpose of modeling your data. And what makes it a fact table is the fact that that is where the events that happen within your business, what your business is defined by, you know, that is what records it. For a hospital, it would be that, okay, Debbie came for an appointment, so person at so time, topic of discussion, if necessary, could be captured, you know. So for every patient that had been seen every day, maybe for the whole year or however long for, that table, the type of table that it is fact table. They can now decide to call it by what their business does, patient appointments. Maybe that's the name they put where I've put our data here. So the numerics here are just namings. They are not important. What is important is that you are able to look at the data and understand if it is a fact table, if it is showing us the transaction that our business does or not. If it's not, then that makes it a dimension table. And what are the, I think if I explain dimension tables, it becomes clearer. Dimension tables are tables that are just for information purpose only. Now, the way this data has been recorded did not really make it very easy. I think I came, especially for those that are new to data, I think I came with a high level sort of data capture. Now, ordinarily, I would have named this table product table because it's showing me, instead of calling it master data, actually I'm changing it. So I'll change this to product table because it's showing me information about my products. Okay, so what dimension table does is it shows you, it's just for information purpose only. Okay, so it just records information about the units of your business. For example, this business, they sell products. So they have a record of the products that they sell, is it like an audit now? Something that where you record I sell fan, I sell television, I sell, everything that's within your shop that you sell. You could even record how many you have left, how many is not is being sold or whatever. It's just giving me information that I want to come and look up. Somebody wants to buy product 1, which has products ID, and it belongs to category 01. How much it cost us to get one of these is 98. That tells me that the unit, the amount I must sell it for is the amount recorded here. So it's just me looking up information about our business. Now, fact table tells me events that are happening within my business. Dimension table gives me information about my business. The information, this one is about product now. That's why I've called this product table. I'm going to change this to sales data or sales table. So it's giving me information about the sales that we make. This is just giving me information about the products that we sell. These are all the products that we sell. These are the units of their measurements. This is how much each one of them cost. And this is how much I must sell each one of them for. That's all. So no transaction has happened on here. No one has bought or sold anything on this table at all. I'm just using it for information purpose. That is a dimension table. Now, sales table is capturing that some quantities of products have been bought. It's putting dates to it. It's telling me there's a payment mode. There's payments. So transaction has occurred. This is my fact table. That's how I know this is a fact table. Now, like Mr. Jide said, from this fact table, we can decide to create different dimension tables. Okay, for example, we need a date table. If we want to create a date table, I can see, that I need a date table that will capture just dates from 1st of January to the end of this data, which is 31st December 2022. Date table on its own, without considering it as part of this table now. If I bring out a date table and I decide to add it on here, that date table is a dimension table. It's just for date information purpose only. It's not showing me that there has been a transaction. Okay. If I decide to bring out, from this table, bring out just this sales type. Okay. Wholesale, online, direct sales. Those are the type of sales that we have. If I decide to make a table for it and call it sales type table, that is also a dimension table because it's just giving me information about the type of sales, that happen within our business. It's not showing me that a transaction has occurred. Okay, if I decide to bring out this payment mode as a whole table, put it on another tab, add a plus and put it on another tab. I don't want to make a mess of this data set. That's why I'm not particularly doing that. It's easier to do that if we were taking this into Power BI. I believe we would have seen it better, and we will at some point. Okay, so that gives me information that, okay, payment mode, we've got online. Thank you, Brotolu. We've got online, we've got cash. Those are the two payments mode that we have within this business. Okay, that table named payments mode, if I bring out a table like that, that is also a dimension table. So anything that is just giving me information around my data, my business, sorry, that is a dimension table or lookup table because I'm just looking up information on it. Okay, dimension or lookup table are the same type of table. They are the same thing. Fact table or transaction table are the ones that give you information about the transactions that has taken place. within your data. I would implore us to go back and do that research, especially around fact table or transaction tables and lookup tables. That's why it was important for us to run through this and look up the things that we should look up so that we don't find it hard in class. It's really foundational to our job as data analysts to be able to categorize the type of table we are working with, because that is what will determine the type of data model that you will form. What tables are having what relationship with what tables? Which one is, how do you form your star schema data model, or the other one? If we don't identify which tables are which tables. I think for tomorrow, the best thing to do is to bring a lot of tables to class and let us work on how we identify which tables are fact tables and which tables are dimension tables. I think if we see it from maybe 5, 6 or so tables, we would establish that that knowledge is fine for everybody. Everybody gets it, and then we can move on. That would be my suggestion. I need us to unmute and let me know where we are at with this fact table and dimension table, please. Let me stop recording.